Alrighty, people.
Yeah.
How you doing?
How are we going?
Your mic is strangely lower than normal.
I can put it up. Hold on.
Did you change the volume recently?
Yeah, I changed it earlier today, probably.
Okay, yeah. What's
Hello.
up, people? Welcome in, welcome in. Maybe you can listen to the audio on that and let me know if that sounds all Gucci.
Yeah.
But what's happening, people? Hopefully everyone's having a fantastic day. And you are ready to get amongst it. Because I know we are ready to get amongst it with you. So thanks for joining us. What's up, Cole? Cole's in the chat. He says, let's go.
Here we go.
It's going to be a good night. We got a couple teams that we're going to review. And is there really any like free agency news to talk about? I don't feel like anything drastic has changed. I mean, Mike Williams goes to the Jets. Instant thoughts on that?
I don't really care for it. Not in Dynasty specifically. Maybe redraft. I don't know. In a redraft league, I'm happy to take a stock or two of him. Maybe in the where would he go? 9th, 8th round, maybe. Maybe that's too low.
I think that's too high.
Even later. That's fair. And also it depends on like who they draft. Like if they draft somebody with that top 10 pick that's not an offensive lineman, I mean, how much of an impact is Mike Williams really going to be making if they do draft another wide receiver? So not necessarily anyone that I personally want on my specifically Dynasty teams.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to take a shot on redraft maybe after the NFL draft to see how everything is panning out.
Definitely makes sense. Certainly not like the contract you would have wanted. It's 1 year, but could be an interesting landing spot. Thanks for joining us, guys. Do us a favor. Go ahead and smash that like button. We also have to think about, is he going to be the same player after that ACL injury? So we'll have to wait and see. But what's up, Cole? What's up, Steele? Welcome in. What's up, Maddie Lowe? Welcome in. Ryan says, yo, this is my team tonight. Let's go. So we get to look at Ryan's team, and that's going to be obviously exciting. We appreciate y'all. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Maddie Lowe says, call back from the future with bad news for my Giants. I don't know if you saw that. He wasn't happy that your Giants are getting J.J. McCarthy. People aren't happy about it.
Maddie, you just got to be ready for it. You have to prepare your heart, and I think that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm preparing my heart because I actually truly believe it's an actual possibility. Genuinely. But a lot of people don't want it. We'll wait and see.
Absolutely. What's up, Scribbles? Says, what's up, guys? Why do I keep seeing people on the Jags receiver room is good? Keeping people safe. Am I crazy that this is a bottom 10 unit for Trevor? No, it's definitely not a good unit. But I think altogether they have good receiving weapons. Evan Ingram, Kirk, obviously, Gabe Davis, Zay Jones. It's a fine group, but it's certainly not a good group. But I also think we should 100% expect the Jags to grab someone in the draft. If that's not round 1, it's probably round 2. They're in a great spot with pick 17 to take maybe a Brian Thomas Jr. if he falls. We talked about that. And Adonai Mitchell wouldn't surprise me, those kind of names. So, would not surprise me at all. But we are here tonight to grade some of your Dynasty teams. Very simple. If you want your team to be graded, become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND.
That's right.
And when you do so, you unlock a Dynasty team review. You also unlock our rookie report, the trade calculator, our complete rankings. You get to be a part of our trade show, and you unlock the entire Discord. So again, become a Mother Flocker member. Once you're a Mother Flocker member, at the top right, go to account and link your Discord. Then you should be able to see all the premium Discord channels that we offer under the Fantasyland tab, including the roster submissions tabs, where you can see Ryan, the first team that we'll be looking at tonight, Ryan's team. Just like Ryan, if you become a Mother Flocker member, you can unlock all of the channels and submit your roster. Just keep in mind when you're signing up, there is an instant access button. If you click that instant access button, you will instantly be eligible for a team review. Otherwise, you got to wait for that free trial to end. But we're looking at Ryan's team tonight, and his team name is Winter is Coming.
Oh, boy.
Sounds pretty serious. Winter is coming. But do you want to walk us through the context of this one?
Do you know where that's from? Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's a Game of Thrones thing, but a lot of people talk about that with Derrick Henry. Yeah. I'm not a Game of Thrones person. I've never watched it.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, Ryan, 12 team, half PPR, one quarterback, non-tight end premium. I traded away a bunch of pieces before last season to get younger because I missed my window. Traded away Kirk Cousins, Mark Andrews, Scary Terry, Chris Godwin, Damian Pierce, Tyler Lockett last year, and I drafted JSN Flowers, Dalton, Young, Roscoe, Hyatt, Chase, and picked up Nico and Pacheco in a trade. Okay. This year I entered the draft with the 101, 104, 105, 201, the 212, and my top picks. I'm worried about consolidating with too many wide receivers, so debating a package to get a certified wide receiver one while drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. to solidify myself at wide receiver. I desperately need a quarterback, and I have it on good authority that Caleb will be chosen at the 102 or the 103, which means I will need to waste
yeah
a 105 on. No, I was thinking maybe say to wait. Anyway, to waste a 105 on Daniels or May favor Daniels. Is your current lineup here, which we'll definitely get into. No question about it. Only a select few of the leagues check trades before training camp, but trying to see after the first wave of free agency if I should stay the course or maybe make a move or two to shift positions. Send a super chat and got a decent answer for what to do here, but wanted to expand on the answer a bit to see if I can dive a bit deeper. Any help is appreciated.
Cool.
We'll be tuning in later. All right, well, Ryan is here.
Yes, we'd love to see. Ryan is in the chat. He says, this is my team. So Ryan is here with us, which we are glad to see. But all right, why don't we look at your league? Your name is Winter is. I guess you probably changed it. Yeah, it's come.
Winter is finally in the moment. But looks good so far. I mean, second ranked amongst your league mates here. It is a star 12, one quarterback if I remember correctly.
Start 7, one quarterback.
Yeah, star 7, one quarterback.
Where did you
here.
get 12 from? Does it say that in the team?
No, I was saying a 12 team.
Okay.
Start 12.
You said start 12.
Sorry, I guess 12 teams, one quarterback, non-PPR. What will be great from you, Ryan, is how many starters? What does that look like? Does it say here? Start 7. We said that already. Never mind. Anyways, which is pretty simple. So that's one quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a normal flex. That's all it is. So you can start up to 3 wide receivers in this build.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna type this out in the chat, and Ryan can let us know if there's anything different.
Yeah. So at the quarterback position, Bryce Young, Russell Wilson here, which definitely makes sense. I don't think you necessarily have to build on your quarterback room, but you know, if I did have a late first, I would definitely be taking one of these quarterbacks over Bryce Young. But at the moment, I don't necessarily believe you have to. I think you did mention that you desperately need a quarterback, and that might be choosing Caleb. Or you have pretty good understanding that someone's taking Caleb Williams at the 102 or the 103, which means that you would have to take a quarterback at the 105 in a one quarterback league. I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, I'm a huge advocate of taking a quarterback in a one quarterback league, but I don't know if I'm using my 105 to do that. But we could definitely talk about it. I mean, I'm not sure how Zach feels about it with this quarterback room here.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be doing that. I mean,
the best thing I would
yourself if you're gonna go May, Daniels, or Brian Thomas, or I guess the other options there are Brock Bowers, depending on your format or how big the premium is. So it's probably not something that I would be doing. But we can talk about fixing the quarterback room. I just don't think that I'd spend one of those picks on it.
I agree, and I think maybe what we can potentially do is maybe trade back and maybe get some more value some other places. But we'll have a chat here. Running back room: Breece Hall, Pacheco, Brian Robinson, Chase Brown, Big O Roscoe, and the list goes on there. I think it's a decent running back room. You don't have to move anyone. I don't think you have to acquire anyone as well. So it feels pretty strong in that room there. Once again, 3 wide receivers that you could potentially start here: Nico Collins, Zay Flowers. Yeah, you have Jackson Smith and Jigba and Jamison Williams here, but I'm not necessarily in love with that 3rd wide receiver, which which we can change here at the 101 with Marvin Harrison Jr.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
you do take him here, or I'm pretty sure you did mention that taking Marvin Harrison Jr. So Nico Collins, Zay Flowers, Marvin Harrison Jr. with that 101 pick. And then you have Jackson Smith and Jigba, who can definitely take over Tyler Lockett, we still believe. And then Jameson Williams, who had a good second half of the season. So that's also really exciting there at that wide receiver position. And Jalen Hyatt and John Mechie, of course, and Demario Douglas. No question about it. In the tight end position, I think you're fine. Dalton Kincaid, David Njoku, you don't have to move at all at that tight end position. I think the biggest thing here is what can we do with our picks to get a better quarterback. I think that's how I'm envisioning this team. And I'm pretty sure Zach is probably going to get into this, but starting 7, we want heavy hitters, right? We want top tier, upper echelons type of players, because that's how you win championships in a star 7, right? Some of these lower tier guys, and I guess respectfully in a league like this with star 7, Zay Flowers is not a heavy hitter start. Nico Collins, I do believe can potentially be a heavy hitter start, but I think we should get a maybe even more, somebody a little bit more valuable that could potentially be in the top 10 in the wide receiver room here if we can make that move. So that's how I'm kind of envisioning this team here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, a lot there. I'm trying to think of where to start here. Well, what I would say is, yeah, I just don't really care about any depth or like wide receiver 2s and 3s.
Yeah, exactly.
I just really don't care at all about it. And I'm willing to overpay for a good quarterback in this format too. But I think at the 101, you don't even think about it. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. And we'll talk about what to do with these other picks. But I think that's going to, you talked about how you had too many mid-wide receivers. You wanted to get a superstar. Well, you're about to. That is what's going to happen at the 101 for you. And I did see your message earlier in the Discord where you were talking about how yesterday I talked about how Caleb Williams has solidified himself, as the number 1 guy. I saw that message over here in the general. Looking forward to this. Very curious to see if I get recommended Caleb at the 101. Zach seemed to suggest he's the undisputed 101, even in 1 quarterback league. So I guess we'll find out. Well, I do remember that talking about Caleb as the undisputed 101, but that was in the context of a SuperFlex league. And a 1 quarterback completely different. I would not say Caleb is the 101. I probably wouldn't take him at the 102. I don't even think I'd take him at the 103. I probably would still go Rome Odunze in a 1 quarterback league over a Caleb Williams. But totally in a SuperFlex leagues, I think he's separated himself. But at the 101, I just don't think there's a scenario where we're not taking Marvin Harrison Jr. I just don't see a scenario in which that is not the answer to the 101. Now, where I want to improve this team, because, remember, start 7. So even if you just add Marvin, you will figure out quarterback, but you've got Breece Hall, Isaiah Pacheco, Marvin, Nico, Zay in the flex, and Dalton Kincaid. So even by adding Marvin Harrison Jr., your team takes a huge step forward. What I want to do with the 104 and the 105 is, if we are going to go quarterback, let's go superstar already. That's already in the NFL, right? Like, I would rather target a big name that I know is going to help me win a championship rather than betting on a Daniels or May to maybe be that guy. Like, we had, like, with this format, I'm totally willing to overpay for some of these names, like a Josh Allen, a Mahomes. I guess you could put Stroud in there. His price is a little crazy right now. Lamar, Hurts, Burrow, an A-Rich, a Kyler. These are the kind of names that I would 100% be willing to overpay for, because I know that they are going to help me win right now in a league. I'm very curious in a 1 quarterback league what the 104 could return to us according to Keep Trade Cut. Could we get our hands on the likes of a Lamar Jackson? I wonder. So they technically say that the 104 is more valuable than Lamar Jackson. That seems a little bonkers to me. What would it take to get a Josh Allen then? I mean, according to Keep Trade Cut, we're not in as many one quarterback leagues as you guys, obviously, but the 201, 212. So can we add the 201 here and get this done, or the 212? I wonder. That's crazy.
Right.
That's honestly crazy to me that that's a possibility according to this calculator. But in my opinion, if I can send the 104, I'll go get a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. We can add Patrick Mahomes there, obviously. Lamar Jackson. The reason I'm not doing Stroud is because I just think his price is a little too high. But we can throw Stroud in there. That's fine. But I'm trying to win right now with this roster. I wonder if the 105 can get me a Jalen Hurts. Is that possible with the 105? In this kind of format? I wonder. Let's see. So Jalen Hurts is less valuable, according to Keep Trade Cut, which again, this is the number one calculator that most people use. So to me, that's how I would be addressing the quarterback spot. Not by betting on a Mayer or Daniels there, but by actually going out and trying to acquire one of the superstars in fantasy today. Jalen Hurts, you could have Burrow, Herbert, A-Rich into that category. You know, maybe you can get Justin Herbert even cheaper. You know, can you use the 201 and the 212 maybe to go out and get a Justin Herbert? Yeah. You know, because I know a lot of people are pretty low on him right now. But that's the route I would be taking to fix the quarterback problem. Why don't we look at some of the teams that have those names? Team 1 has Patrick Mahomes. He's unlikely to move on. Because Trevor Lawrence will be his quarterback too, but send the offer. Send the offer for the 104. I mean, what's that gonna what harm is that gonna cause? Unlikely to get Lamar Jackson because looking at his current team, it doesn't feel like he could afford to lose a Lamar Jackson. The guy with Josh Allen has the 107, the 108. I mean, would he be willing to do? What's the quarterbacks that you have in your roster again? I'm trying to remember.
Bryce Young, Russell Wilson.
Would he be willing to do like a Russell Wilson, the 104 for a Josh Allen? Can you at least, you know, put your foot in the door and see if that's possible? Let's look at some of these other teams here. Team 6 has Anthony Richardson and Justin Herbert. And apparently A-Rich is the quarterback 6 right now. Is that right on Keep Trade Cut? That's
quarterback 9.
That's crazy, dude.
Oh wait, in SuperFlex, yeah, he's quarterback 6.
And one quarterback, yeah, and one quarterback. Yeah. So, can I send the 105? Can I get Justin Herbert and something? What's this guy's team got? Because he's got Herbert and Richardson and Cousins, so he's probably willing to let go of one of those names. Can I get Justin Herbert and the 206, for example, right? I mean, that's something that I would be willing to try. So that's the way I would try and fix the quarterback problem rather than betting on one of those names, and certainly not going Caleb Williams at the 101.
Yeah, completely agree. One of my key guys would be Justin Herbert. I'll be bringing him in a video here soon. The community doesn't view him the way, now losing Keenan Allen and Mike Williams here. I think Justin Herbert could be a perfect addition to this team. Running backs are fine. I don't think you necessarily have to do anything there. I mean, yeah, we can pivot and get some more, get higher than a Pacheco. But I'm not necessarily saying you have to.
Yeah.
I'm happy to stay put there. I think the wide receiver one, I'm willing to move. Like, can I package? You get Marvin Harrison Jr. Can I package Zay Flowers and
whatever you don't use at the 104, the 105?
Yeah, the 104, 105, and get, you know, one of these top echelons type of wide receivers here. Can I get an Amon-Ra St. Brown? Can I get a Puka? Can I get an AJ Brown? The CD Lambs, you know? Because if you have Marvin Harrison Jr. and let's say Amon-Ra, wow, that takes your team really, really up there. It can really set you apart from all these other guys.
I'd even be willing to do that for like a Garrett Wilson, because I'm just trying to think how realistic it would be.
I'm happy. Garrett Wilson, Puka, Amon-Ra, AJ Brown.
Let's say it was Zay in the 105. I wonder what Keep Trade Cut would say if it was an Amon-Ra here. So yeah, they say it's possible, but I think in most leagues people wouldn't. But put your foot in the door, like Badaki's saying there.
Yeah, and I, I'm happy to keep Nico to be my wide receiver 3 as your, I guess, quote unquote worst wide receiver on this team. If you do get one of those, Puka, Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson type of players, so that means you have Martin Harrison Jr., what's hypothetically Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then Nico Collins, who's your wide receiver 3, linked to a perfect quarterback, and then that really sets you apart from all these other guys. Yeah. Rethinking back to it, Justin Herbert is your starting quarterback. Breece Hall, Isaiah Pacheco, you 2 running backs. Marvin Harrison Jr., hypothetically Amon-Ra St. Brown with Nico Collins, and then Dalton Kincaid or David Njoku, I think is a perfect lineup there. And that really changes this team. That really makes you this contender, no doubt about it, when it comes down to your league here. So I like this. I like this move personally.
Yeah, sorry, my dog is going crazy downstairs, so I'm just trying to get him to calm down.
No, you're fine. That's okay. Dogs go crazy. Big old bean.
Anyway, yeah, I like it. You mentioned Herbert. We get Herbert. We add a Marvin Harrison Jr. We try and flip Zay Flowers and a pick into one of those top tier names. I mean, we're starting to cook with gas. I would even suggest like the same, so if you have Marvin, Nico, Zay as your wide receiver 3, I'm actually comfortable with that. I don't mind trying to upgrade at running back either. So using Zay in the 104, the 105 to go out. And can we get a Bijan? Is that possible? Can we get a Gibbs? Are those kind of deals possible? I'm curious what Keep Trade Cut would say if we were to add a Pacheco here. Can we get a Jahmyr Gibbs? I mean, according to Keep Trade Cut, it's certainly possible. They even put Bijan Robinson in like the fair part of this trade. Even with this roster, I don't have a problem actually getting Christian McCaffrey, because I feel like this team is ready to compete.
Yeah.
So like the 104, and I'll add the 201 to get that kind of deal done, or it looks like you don't even have to do that in every league. What are the picks did you have? The 212? I wonder if the 212, that could get the deal done as well. So we talked about Zay Flowers, Jahmyr Gibbs. We talked about using the 105, was that in the 212?
Yeah, 105 or 104
for CMC. So, to me, there's a couple different pathways that you can go. What is 100% locked in is Marvin at the 101. Would you agree?
Yeah, 1,000%.
So Marvin's 100% locked in at the 101, regardless of what you do with the rest of this team. But there's a scenario here where we use one of these picks. To me, my best case scenario here is getting Marvin and using these picks for trades to improve this team. Because, again, the 4th or 5th player in a class is very valuable in most formats. Until you're playing Start 7 leagues. You're playing Start 7 leagues, you're like, how much do I really care about this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So really, that's the only scenario I would be pursuing is Marvin plus, I would say, consolidation, if that makes sense. But we can talk about a scenario where you do stick and pick, because obviously sometimes you have to, right? Some deals don't always come together. It's not, we don't always live in a perfect world. But if you were to stick and pick, at the 104, I believe that's going to be like a Brian Thomas Jr. for me. I'm trying to double check my rankings here before I misquote myself. Who's your 104 in a one quarterback format?
Yeah, it's Brian Thomas.
Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah.
And one quarterback, I think let me just double check. I'm pretty sure it might be Brian Thomas or Brock Bowers, either one.
Brian Thomas, Brock Bowers. Those are the kind of names you'd be looking at the 201. Now, in most leagues, this is kind of where your quarterbacks are coming off the board. That's where your Daniels or a May could go. But it sounds like your league is going to take them a little bit earlier. So if those guys aren't available, you can start to look at names like a Marshawn Lloyd, a Jalen Wright, a McMillan, a Leggett, right? Like those kind of names, a Pearsall. But again, I would much rather package all of these picks to go out and combine it with a name to build my team around the construction that my league currently has. So let me play out best case scenario.
Okay.
Best case scenario in my mind is we use the 104 and Russell Wilson and we go out and get Josh Allen. Okay, so the 104 is used, but our starting quarterback is Josh Allen. All right, the 105, we turn Zay Flowers and the 105 into Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay, so the 105 and the 104 are used, but our starting roster is Josh Allen, Jahmyr Gibbs, Breece Hall. We also have Brian Robinson as our running back 3. At wide receiver, we have Nico Collins, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson Smith, and Jigba. And then with the 201 and the 212, we go best wide receiver available with both of those picks to try and kind of build out our wide receiver room depth a little bit there. Ryan says definitely targeting a running back at the 201 if possible. So that's, in my opinion, that is the best case scenario. Or instead of doing the Gibbs Bijan deal, you do the Zay Flowers deal where you get a Puka, a Monra, a Garrett Wilson, that kind of order.
Yeah, I like that play. One other play I was thinking, just so we can pull all the options out there. What if you can get 2 heavy hitters at the running back and wide receiver position for the 101?
Okay.
And maybe you send the 101 and the 201, knowing that you're just going to be fine. What happens if you get like a Jahmyr Gibbs and a Drake for the 101 and you send the 201?
Do you think that's possible? Let's see.
I mean, if the 101 is valued that way.
Right. I feel like it's valued in a one quarterback format. Running backs are way more valuable than SuperFlex.
Well, I guess check the calculator. Like, try Jahmyr Gibbs in London and sending the 101 and the 20.
The 201? Okay, right.
Right, because not just for the 101.
Okay. Well, totally. If that's possible, I 100% agree. I like that.
Yeah, because I was thinking, maybe we can play off the team. I'm trying to find. So Jahmyr Gibbs, team 5, Horn 11. He has Jahmyr Gibbs and Chris Olave. Chris Olave is a bit. I'm not saying he's not somebody I don't want, I don't want to acquire, but I guess getting Gibbs and Olave there, and then best case scenario is using that 105 or 104 to get your quarterback. That automatically changes your team as well in a different perspective. I would even throw the same thing for Bijan Robinson and, I really wouldn't want to do that for Michael Pittman Jr. personally.
Yeah, tough to
but
find a
you get what I'm saying, right? Like if you can find that wide receiver 1, that really good wide receiver 1 and that RB 1 for the 101, and throw that 201 in there to see if they actually would do it, I'll be down to.
I do think that is one area that Keep Trade Cut doesn't reflect well in the one quarterback community. From what I've learned, is just like running backs are way more valuable than their calculator shows.
Yeah,
but if it's
that's
possible,
another scenario.
Definitely,
that's another scenario, Ryan. If you wanted to have as many options as possible, I'm not sure if it's doable in your league, but
what about a Jamar Chase and a Kyron to team 9?
That would be okay. I'll definitely try that. Then you have.
Don't know how possible these are, but it's worth exploring, I guess.
Yeah, then you have Breece Hall, Kyron with Jamar Chase, Nico Collins. Once again, you get one of those quarterbacks with your 104, 105.
I almost feel like you'd have to do the 101 and the 105 here. I think at that point, just take Marvin. That's tough. But it certainly is a door that you should open and just see what's on the other side of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's all.
But Ryan, do you have any questions? Anything that we didn't address maybe that you wanted us to hit? Looking back at your message here, I'm trying to make sure we didn't miss anything. You mentioned a super chat, Ryan. What was the super chat about? I can't really remember. Let me know what that super chat was about, because I can't remember off the top of my head. Sent a super chat and got a decent answer for what to do here.
Yeah, I think maybe you probably just asked a question.
Yeah, I just can't remember what the question was. But yeah, I think one of the main things you had mentioned is how high should I go quarterback given my team? It's clearly a need, but like I said earlier, I think it would be like my last resort to go quarterback that early in this rookie draft. I would try so many other options, including trying to go out and get one of those superstars for a top 5 pick instead.
What happens if you don't? What happens if he doesn't get a quarterback? Like, let's just say nobody wants to trade their quarterback away because they've seen people get injured. Like, for example, the guy that has Justin Herbert, Anthony Richardson, really doesn't want to trade any of those quarterbacks because literally all of his quarterbacks got hurt.
He's got
Richardson,
3
Herbert,
though.
Cousins.
He's got Cousins, Herbert, and Richardson. Surely this guy's looking at his wide receiver room and thinking, yeah, and his tight end room, you know, is like, I should, you know. I mean, that's gotta be your option.
Look, he definitely should, but if he doesn't, and there's no trade options there for a quarterback, do you keep this quarterback room?
Or do I probably keep it heading into the year.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think yeah, man. I mean, look, it's just, I mean, I probably take a shot on Justin Fields in this format, to be honest. I probably, what is the lowest pick I can send for Justin Fields? Because I have Russell Wilson. And the leagues that I have Justin Fields in right now, by the way, I only have 2. I had 5 last year heading into the season. Around week 9, when I figured the Panthers were going to have the #1 overall pick, I started pivoting. We had those conversations on the channel. But the leagues I still have Justin, I've been trying to acquire Russell Wilson as an insurance policy. Because Russell Wilson's very affordable, and if you have Fields, it sucks that he went to Pittsburgh, but also there's a pretty affordable insurance policy there to go out and grab a Russell Wilson. So I wonder in one quarterback leagues how cheap Justin Fields is right now.
Well, I don't think people are valuing Justin Fields high either. Like, I'm not necessarily sure someone is willing to send an early second for Justin Fields, but they'll do a late second, which I'll take a chance on for someone like Justin Fields, who may not get the job this year, which he may not be starting any games this year, but feels really in the right direction to start in 2025, just purely based off the history of this team. You know, Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing season, I mean, forever. He's always been in the second half of the draft, to where they haven't been able to get a quarterback. That's why they landed somebody like Kenny Pickett. If anything, I feel like Justin Fields, is a good buy on the low to a wait and see approach if I could potentially get him. See, the 212 I can see.
Yeah, 212. I mean, that's what I would be trying. If I can't address a quarterback in those other ways that we talked about, I would try and go out and get Justin Fields, because we know that you're either going to have Russell Wilson as a starter or Justin Fields as a starter. And if Justin Fields is starting for any team, he's going to put up huge fantasy points. We just know that.
Exactly, and I think that's what the fantasy community is not realizing. Like, he's going to continue to utilize his legs, whether he's in a different offense or not. And I think that's what's exciting about Justin Fields. Maybe he may not be the best quarterback to produce fantasy relevant receivers around him, but he himself is still going to put up numbers. So Justin Fields is also going to be on that list of somebody that you should be buying.
Well, we have a video coming out soon, and I don't know. I think it just depends on the person if you should be buying.
It depends on the situation. And I think taking advantage of the market value right now for the way Justin Fields is being valued, I think is the right thing to do. Which will definitely be broken down a little bit more in that video that's coming out.
Totally depends on what your team direction is and everything. But yeah, that would be my plan. Let's see, Ryan. He says my league values running backs pretty heavily, and not a lot of teams have depth. I think realistically, I can probably use Pacheco or Robinson to upgrade at running back, though. The super chat was just a quick team analysis, what to do at the 101. Gotcha. But yeah,
Okay.
let us know, man. Is there any questions that we didn't cover for you? Is there anything that you wanted us to dive into, or you had, some sort of question about your team that we weren't able to talk about when we just broke it down? Now let us know. But like we mentioned, just a quick recap. In an ideal world, Marvin Harrison Jr. is your pick at the 101. You're not moving him. In an ideal world, you can use a 104 and the 105 in the trade market to improve your team. We talked about trying to get a Josh Allen. We talked about trying to get a Jalen Hurts. The guy who has A-Rich and Herbert is someone that you could definitely go out and target with instead of betting on the quarterbacks that are coming into this class. We talked about potentially consolidating and upgrading at wide receiver or upgrading at running back. We also talked about trading away the 101. What could that give you in return? Now, of course, we recognize not all those deals are possible, but those are the type of doors you should be trying to open. Ryan says, any value in getting Bowers at tight end or just stick with Kincaid? In a non-tight end premium, I don't think it moves the needle very much at all.
I agree.
And that's why the 105 I would be wanting to trade, because I think it's still very valuable in a lot of leagues, in a lot of leagues' eyes. But in your league, start 7, no tight end premium. I'm not saying Bowers won't be valuable, but when you already have Kincaid and Njoku, I'm not sure, you're not going to flex one of those guys, and how much more valuable will Kincaid be in year 1 in a trade than a Brock Bowers? So from a value perspective, it might be tough in your league specifically. But yeah, that's the kind of moves that we'd be looking to do. But anything I missed, Badaki?
No. Use your fantasy hotline, Ryan. As always, I mean, when you have those trades come in, definitely come through and let us know what you can, what has been happening here. He said, last question, should I move JMO? I personally would, if you can package him, even if he's a throw-in. I mean, that may sound terrible. In this league, if you have 3 starters, if that scenario does pan out, where you get Marvin Harrison Jr., Nico Collins, and let's just say you keep Zay Flowers, right? You're probably not going to be starting Jameson over any of those guys unless he has a consistent production for at least 4 to 5 weeks, and we just haven't seen that in his first 2 years of the NFL. So I would say yes.
Yeah, I think I definitely would be open to moving Jameson in this format. In a lot of leagues, I'm buying him, but those are leagues where it's start 11. You can start 5 to 6 wide receivers. And, in this type of format, I would totally be open to hearing it. And that's coming from the Jameson Williams resident truther here, myself. I mean, you're gonna find it hard to find someone who loves JMO more than me, so I'm totally okay to move him. If you end up packaging Jameson Williams, let's say there's a deal on the table where you are, trying to grab a Monra or, a Chase or a CD or whatever, one of these big wide receiver names, and someone's like, all right, I'm down for the deal, but I need you to add Jameson Williams. Easy. Let's do it. Obviously you don't sound that keen, but yeah, all right. Yeah, we can do it, totally, 100%. Yeah. We are going to move on to what?
But in his mind, that you're gonna swindle him.
Exactly. We did get a super chat from Waka Flocka. Flocka. We do appreciate the super chat, Flocka. We can't break down your entire team right now. I just hope that you know that. But we can try and answer a question, because today's stream is really focused on people who are supporting us on the Flock Fantasy site. But how can we help? He says, see the link above. Running backs earn 1 point per 5 yards. No one's letting the running backs go. He says, I won 3 years straight. I do not know what to do with my picks.
I'm pretty sure you can't share a link in the chat.
Yeah, if you're trying to share a link in the chat, that doesn't work on YouTube. They don't let anyone but the admin of the account send a link, if that makes sense. But we can't see your team, so I can't really answer that question well right now, unfortunately.
I would say that if you won 3 years straight, that means you have really good foundations, whether that's older veterans or maybe young pieces that are probably building, that have been growing, right? But looking at your picks, 102, 104, 105, 110, looks like you still have those good values. You probably made some really good trades to acquire those picks. So I would say whatever you're doing right now, continue to do what you do, right? Maybe have those older veterans, maybe start to cycle them out for these younger players.
We also don't know if this is a SuperFlex league, a one quarterback league. I mean, that changes everything. Maybe what we can do is tell you what our best player available would be at each pick. If it's a SuperFlex or a one quarterback, maybe you can tell us that. But if you're trying to send a link to your team and everything, that's not going to go through on YouTube. And also, the only way to get your team reviewed is by being a Mother Flocker member with our code LAND. Ryan says, appreciate the help, fellas. Definitely confirmed some ideas I was debating. My league is stubborn as hell with trades, so I'll keep y'all posted. Yes, absolutely. Do your best. Reach out. All you can do is try. You know, 90% of trades are not going to go down, but you got to send them to at least get, you know, your hat in the ring. Do us a favor, guys. Go ahead and smash that like button. Simple way for you to help support this channel. Our like goal today is 50, and we're about at 20 now, which is awesome. But it is a SuperFlex league, so we can quickly say for Waka, our best player available at the 102 would probably be Marvin Harrison Jr. At the 104, you're probably looking at a Mayer or Daniels. At the 105, a Mayer or Daniels. You know, if you have two quarterbacks that you really love, and you want to go out and add a quarterback 3, you can go Mayer Daniels at the 104, and at the 105 you can add a Malik Neighbors. But at this point, without knowing draft capital, and we're not able to dive into your team via super chat, I'm sorry, we appreciate the support though so much. Without being able to dive into your team like a proper team review with the guys that we're doing here, I would say 100% you go Marvin at the 102, assuming he'll be there. You go Mayer Daniels at the 104, 105, and then Malik Neighbors with one of those other picks. Now, of course, if you only have one quarterback that you like and you're in a SuperFlex format, at the 104 and the 105, you can hit quarterback twice. You know, you can go May and Daniels. And then at the 110, the 201, the 2-3, all those second and late first round picks, it's always best player available in a rookie draft. You never force a need. Let's say you need a running back. You're like, I just need a running back. Well, don't force it if the best player available isn't Adonai Mitchell, who went in round 1. You know, don't go out and grab a Blake Corum, who went in round 3, just because you need a running back. So I see you put your entire team in the chat, but like we mentioned, hopefully you can understand we're not able to break down a team that way. If you guys do want your team reviewed by us, the only way to get that done is by becoming a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. I'll put a direct link in the chat in case anyone does want to have that experience. But again, over on the Flock Fantasy website, got to use the code LAND. Got to be a Mother Flocker member. And once you have signed up, go to account, link your Discord, and you should instantly be able to see all of our premium Discord channels, just like Ryan was able to do here. We appreciate you, Ryan. Thank you for the support, and thank you for the love.
Appreciate you. Flocka.
But Flocka, hopefully you understand, man. We appreciate you, and hopefully that was helpful.
Flocka flame.
And yes, you can always join the Discord too. A lot of people are always having convos there. But the next team we're looking at today is Krush. And let's have a look here. Walker says, I am a Mother Flocker member, but with Flock Fantasy, I found you on the site. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, no, Mason does great team reviews as well. But all right, next team we're looking at is Krush. Is Krush in the chat with us? Do we know?
Krush5.
If he is, that's awesome. If not, no worries at all.
Yeah. We appreciate you. Thank you for the support here. And I'll start breaking it down here as you are setting it up. 12-team full PPR SuperFlex tight end premium.
Yes,
What is the premium? This is an orphan team I've just picked up, and I'm not sure what direction I want to go yet. I have picks 106, 107 to 206 in the draft this year. We only do 3-round rookie drafts. Okay. Since I've took over the team, I've traded T. Higgins for the 107. I'm okay with that.
Right now. SuperFlex?
Yeah, SuperFlex. I'm okay with that. I have also traded the 110 Kenneth Walker, Pittman, and Fields for Burrow and AJ Brown. I like that trade as well. How do you feel about that?
I want to know how many starters there are. It's a 12-team. How many starters? But
I'm seeing 3 wide receivers and 4 flex at the bottom. But yes, we'll break it down even more.
Yeah,
I feel even better about this trade now that we've seen what happened to Fields. I have been thinking about whether or not I should see if I can trade A-Rich for Golf in the 103. Okay, we can definitely have a look at that. So 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 4 flex.
Sorry, just to
Any
clarify,
advice?
he actually wants to sell A-Rich for Goff in the 103. He's wondering if that's possible.
We're not sure if I can trade A-Rich for Goff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what's that? 2, 4. What's that? 4, 7, 8. 11.
That's a pretty healthy
10,
starting
11.
lineup there.
No,
I mean,
12. That's 12. Am I
4,
tripping?
7, 8, 12. It's a start 12. So
Start 12, yeah.
in a start 12,
Oh boy.
I'm not sure about that deal, to be honest. The 110, Ken Walker, Pittman, and Fields.
It just depends on his team. Without context, yeah, that looks a little bit shaky. Also questionable now selling T. Higgins, where you can be starting 7 wide receivers.
I don't worry about that because I know you're going to get the 7th best player in your class, and that's either a Dunze or a Bowers in a tight end premium. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But let's look at the team. What's his team name? Delelfer is the team name, right?
Delelfer 2-6.
Currently ranked 7 out of 12 on Keep Trade Cut. Everyone's pretty well. Well, there are some pretty bad teams. There's some pretty bad teams. But there is one team that's just dominating. But you are ranked 7th out of 12. And let's see if we can improve this roster with you. So, first things first, SuperFlex, right? We're getting on the same page here. SuperFlex, start 12, tight end premium. That means a plus. I wonder if that's a full point, as in 2 points per reception.
I think so, because normally plus is 0.5, and then plus is full point.
So in a SuperFlex league, you got Joe Burrow, Anthony Richardson, Gardner Minshew. That's beautiful. I do think at this point Minshew probably is a starter, but I still think O'Connell's going to battle for that job. Either way, Joe Burrow and A-Rich together, it's a great combo right there. At running back, Rachaad White, Pacheco, Warren, and then it falls off pretty heavily. Those are 3 names that you feel good about, rotating in and out of your lineup. Certainly not superstars. I know Rachaad White finishes a top, 5 or 6 running back last year. But I think if we think, if we pull ourselves out and look at the Bucs backfield without any bias, regardless of if you own Rachaad White or not, you would say, what is the percentage chance of them adding a running back in the draft? At least to complement him. It feels right around 50%, right? I mean, like there's a.
It feels pretty good that no matter where they take a running back, they're taking a running back in this draft. That's how confident
it feels that way, but of course we could be wrong, right?
Yeah.
At wide receiver, I just don't know. I would have made this move now looking at our wide receiver room. We got Greg Dortch as our wide receiver 3 and a start 12. We can start 7 wide receivers.
Yes, we can start 7 wide receivers. So looking at that trade at this moment, you have Kenneth Walker, Michael Pittman, Justin Fields. Look, Fields in breaking down that trade specifically, Fields doesn't really impact this trade. Walker, in my opinion, doesn't feel like it impacts this trade. If anything, it's the 110 and Pittman that I would have been like, oh, should I have kept him for depth over AJ Brown? But he does significantly upgrade in Joe Burrow, though. So I think it kind of pays off at the quarterback position, but the wide receiver position gets really hurt. But
in 9 out of 10 leagues, that is a huge win for a trade. I'm not suggesting it's not in this league. I'm just suggesting when you consider the context of the starting lineup, that is a difficult one to swallow because you're sitting a lot of really good starters and you're consolidating. It's almost the opposite of what we just did. Start 7, consolidate.
Literally.
Best lineup you can possibly get. Now we're talking start 12. That's about as big as it gets in most Dynasty leagues. Start 7, that's... I think there's probably less than 5% of leagues out there that have a start 7 wide receiver option, right? So that's why it gets a little hard to digest. In fact, I think our suggestions are going to be very much like the opposite of what we just did. Instead of consolidate, let's get a lot of really good starters and try and tier down from as many of these options as we can.
1,000% here, and that's exactly where.
At least at tight end, you've got 2 really good options in the tight end premium format, and in Joe
and Kittle. And I think that's okay. And I think maybe Kittle could be somebody you could be potentially tearing off out of with having Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft looking at your tight end position here.
Yeah.
But I would personally be saying quarterback. I'm not moving. It's all about the
Okay.
wide receiver and running back room, in my personal opinion, that I want to be tearing out of. And I really only believe there's one person you can tear out of and get a 2-for-1 type of deal. That's AJ Brown. I think personally you could do it for DJ Moore. I don't think the community values DJ Moore as a 2-for-1 type of deal.
They don't. We do,
So,
but the community doesn't.
yeah, so I think for DJ, it might be best to keep him, and then try and do a 2-for-1 for AJ Brown, for whatever that looks like here.
So why don't we talk about some of those names then that you would do that for?
Yeah. So just looking at some people here at the wide receiver position.
I think Rashee Rice comes to mind instantly for me.
Yeah. Rashee Rice, I mean, you can throw the Jordan Addisons in here. You can throw the Nico Collins, the Tank Dells, the Zay Flowers, the Jaden Reeds, I think will be really interesting. Brandon Ayuk, I mean, that's a far range of players, but these are all the players that if I can get a Jordan Addison and a Zay Flowers, or maybe a Rashee Rice and a Jordan Addison, I feel really comfortable about that. It's expanding into my wide receiver room there. A Brandon Ayuk and a Tank Dell expanding in my wide receiver room. That feels really comfortable. Would you do Devonta Smith, T. Higgins? Like, the list really goes on from wide receiver. I would say like 12 to wide receiver, maybe 18.
Yeah,
I feel
it's a big range. I would say what would be important for us is to actually look at teams and what actually looks possible from some of these teams, right? And it's gonna have to be a team that has, something that we can benefit from. Like this team that has Jefferson, Ayuk, Collins. I like the idea of Collins, but like, what are we gonna get as 26 first? I mean, maybe. Like that's certainly an option. So why don't we start identifying teams? Can we get, like we just said it, Nico Collins plus that 26 first, right? Just adding value down the track for ourselves. 26 first, yes, they're far away, but they'll come quicker than you realize. That's what she said. The Devonta Smith owner. The Devonta Smith owner doesn't really have like a natural. I mean, but would you go in that? I'm not sure I'd go in that same row where it would be a 26 first or a Tyreek. It's just too close.
Yeah, I would agree.
And the guy who has T. Higgins, there's not really other names that I'm super interested in. Same with the guy who has Mike Evans. We're going to have to keep searching. But like the guy who has Michael Pittman, I mean, would you do this? Would you do Pittman and the 110? I know that sounds crazy, but in this format,
I mean, you get Michael Pittman the 110 back.
Yeah,
because he gets that. That's what essentially he just traded.
Yeah,
for.
We did.
Who's the 110 in SuperFlex at the moment? Conky, another quarterback potentially. Adonai.
I would do it, but you're right, because that sounds like the structure of the trade he just did. It doesn't sound like that's really going to be possible, but let's keep looking at other names. Like Reed is kind of far down though. And you're not going to get like Reed in the 105. Would you do Reed in the 112? Is that too far down? That might be too far down.
Well, I mean, is Reed in the 105 not actually doable? Like,
I think the most you'd get is like straight up.
The 105 straight up, right?
Yeah, I just don't think that you'd get like, where we're trying to add depth and add like really good starters here. I don't think you'd get more than just the 105 there, but let's keep looking. Like Puka is not really an option. The guy team 4, I think is the first one that makes sense. Can we get Jordan Addison and Zay Flowers? Right? And then maybe even that 203 that he has there. That's the kind of deal I'm trying to pursue.
Right. Okay. I'm happy with that.
Also, if he needs to make that Debo instead of one of those names, I'll just put Debo alternative to one of those names, right? Like, totally down to do that. Because again, guys, you can start 7 wide receivers. The team we just reviewed is a start 7 total. You can start 7 wide receivers. That is honestly crazy, but okay, I have not heard many leagues like that.
The fact that it went back to back as well, like he had start 7 and then a start. Yeah.
We also have a team here who has Rashee Rice, Tank Dell. I would absolutely froth over that idea.
Yeah, I like that idea as well.
Tank Dell and who was it? Sorry that I said Rashee Rice.
Rashee Rice.
Like straight up, give me Tank Dell and Rashee Rice. In
What
this
about
format,
Brandon Ayuk and Nico Collins?
is that an option somewhere?
That is an option, yes.
I love that.
I think those are plenty of options there for him. I would say this: the other person that you could potentially tear off of would probably be George Kittle. In tight end full point premium, what Kittle finished as top 5 tight end this past year? I know there's potentially some question marks coming in to this year. Is he going to be?
Go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
No, I was just wondering. Maybe we can trade that off to somebody.
Okay.
In a tight end premium. How much can I get from that full point premium from George Kittle because of the depth that you have at the tight end position? I would rather keep Njoku, Musgrave, Tucker Kraft. Just because I'm going to be building on to later. I'm not necessarily sure this team is going to be competing at this moment, especially if George Kittle does stay with, sees out his contract. I'm not sure he'll be ready for that. So if I can keep Njoku and the rest of those guys and sell Kittle to a team like Team 6, who has Brevin Jordan and Joe Everett, what can I get?
105 though, so they're probably going to go Bowers.
Well, wouldn't you envision Bowers going higher in this full point premium?
Maybe.
I guess it just depends.
But
Just
it
depends on
who has the 104 and the 103, and
103. The 103 and the 104 is owned by Team 1, who has Kyle Pitts, Michael Mayer.
So probably not.
But they have Tua, Jared Goff.
So they're probably going quarterback or wide receiver. Tight end is probably the least of their worries on that team.
Yeah, probably at that 105 position.
And you're not going to go Bowers over Marvin or Caleb.
I will say this. If that is still an option, Krush, if you, after the point, and Bowers goes before him, hit him up. Like, okay, who can you get for George Kittle in a scenario like this?
I think if I would, so I just view Kittle a little bit differently because I feel like Ayuk is the one that's going to be dealt at some point. Mm-hmm. And to me, I just think that means they're going to commit more to Kittle and Debo as like the next 2 to 3 years of their offense as receivers. Sure. Do you know what I mean? So I almost view him in a way as a buy low because I do think they're not going to be able to afford to pay Ayuk what he's deserving. Do you know what I mean? But I'm still not opposed to the idea of pivoting. If I am pivoting, I need to get a wide receiver plus a lower tier tight end. That's the kind of deal that I would be looking to pursue if I'm pivoting off of Kittle. What's the structure of the deal that you would be looking to do? That's the structure I'm thinking.
Yeah, a lower, and I would be thinking that as well. I wouldn't even thinking of a lower tier tight end personally. I would still be trying to do a 2-for-1. Maybe that's a wide receiver and a running back. Maybe that's 2 wide receivers, right? Okay, I remember you saying Jaden Reed is a bit too far down. Can I get Jaden Reed and then I'm trying to find the team that has Jaden Reed. Maybe I can think of a trade here.
This is
Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed, and that's tough.
Yeah, that's a tough one there because he doesn't have anyone else.
Najee, maybe. Derrick Henry.
I don't know if I want to go that, but you get what I'm saying. I'm looking for one of those teams. I'm trying to find another one here.
The reason I say lower tier tight end is because I want to find the breakout in this format where tight ends are given double points. Right. Last year, my favorite buy at the tight end position was Trey McBride. This year, it's Michael Mayer. So I want to know who has Michael Mayer because if they're open to a deal and tight end seems to be a need for them, then we could potentially work out a deal. And that's Team 1 who has Kyle Pitts. So he's probably not super interested in a deal, unfortunately. But yeah, that's not a natural tier down. But let's see what other tight ends people have. We've got Dawson Knox here. Zach Ertz, that's not going to work.
Would you try someone I
would almost try and tear down to a Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert has fallen way too far in people's rankings. I know he's not young, he's not unproven, but he is a value right now. So can I get Christian Kirk? Would you do that? Christian Kirk and Dallas Goedert in this format?
I'd be interested.
Because again, start 7 wide receivers. Like that's the kind of... What ideas you have though? What ideas were you looking at?
I'm just thinking. For me, I'm just thinking like, am I ever going to be starting? Not. I mean, yeah, I think there could be arguments, but like, I have David and Njoku, so.
I think in this league, you're absolutely starting both of those guys in your lineup.
Yeah, and I think that is possible, and I think that's what's exciting about it. Like, you can definitely start both of them. But for me, I guess I'm looking more at a. Let's find something. I'm trying to find a team that is a natural pivot here, and a lot of them aren't.
Probably team 12 is the one that's the most needy. So would you do a Mike Evans and like the 110?
This is the team that he traded away Michael Pittman to as well.
Yeah, you're probably not getting
Walker.
Okay, never mind. Keep trying to get that 110 back. That guy's probably not going to.
I'm looking team 11, Malcolm Butler.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's a 1-for-1, like, is it crazy to do like T. Higgins for George Kittle?
Well, he already traded T. Higgins away, remember?
Yeah, shit.
So that guy just got T. Higgins. Kittle's a tough pivot, let's be honest. Kittle's a tough pivot.
It is a tough pivot because there's no one else there's no one's a natural pivot at the moment.
So you mentioned earlier that you wouldn't touch the quarterbacks, but and maybe I misquoted you, but I would personally view it as like a huge way to improve this roster, whether that is Anthony Richardson or Joe Burrow. And my main goal. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. Like, I did say that, and I've been pretty big on trying to pivot down from Anthony Richardson and getting value there. So, like, that's definitely something we can do.
Yeah, that would be one of my favorite ways to improve this roster overall. And he talked about trying to get Jared Goff and the 103. If you can do that, 100% take that and run. You know, that's a trade he brought to us. He's saying trying to see about whether or not I should see if I can trade A-Rich for Goff in the 103. 100%. Are you on the same page with me? If you can get that deal done in this format, you pull that deal in an instant. Because then you still have a very good starter, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, but now you have the 103, 106, and the 107, so you can add to your team, which is in desperate need of depth at this very moment.
Yeah, which will be phenomenal there at the 103. So I would agree selling A-Rich will probably be a good starting point there. Who has the 103? Oh, I think that's the team 1 who has Tua, Jared Goff. Yeah, he's willing to do that. I'll do that.
100%. There are other pivots. I mean, by the way, I would do Tua as well. Like if he wanted to keep Jared Goff, I would do Tua as well for the 103 in that deal with that guy. So that gives you a little more flexibility.
I'm okay with either. Yeah. Either.
So
I think the other one would probably be Jordan Love as well.
Okay, yeah. Where's Jordan Love?
Just another name. I'm not necessarily sure. I was just saying Jordan Love in a player or in a pick if the pivot is right.
What about Dak Prescott in the 105 with Team 6?
Yes, I'm trying to find it. Dak Prescott 105 Team 6. Okay. I'm okay with that.
I think we would prefer the 103 deal. But again, trying to find ways to turn one guy, into two really good starters in this format. I mean, what if you could get Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, plus the 105? You know, like that's the kind of deal you can start with. You can settle for just Dak in the 105. But that would.
I'm honestly okay with that. I think it's a perfect pivot. Once again, building off of that wide receiver room is going to be crucial here.
I like Purdy
just depends
too.
on how far. Yeah, I was going to say Purdy in the 108. I'm not sure if that is something that you'll be interested in. Maybe you can get more.
I was almost going to say Purdy plus George Pickens. But
I think I would want the 108. Yeah, I think I want the 108 over Pickens. But yeah, like I think that's fine as well.
Yeah.
If you can get that done. I would say this, if you like that George Pickens move, their crush, I would want an additional like 205.
plus his 205. So let's
Maybe
offer both
maybe
of
that's
those.
greedy. Maybe that's greedy from me, but
It's fine. Let's offer both of those as options for him.
yeah.
So plus George Pickens, plus the 205, or Brock Purdy,
And the
plus
108.
the 108.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Those are all deals. And again, if you're just joining us, guys, keep in mind, every league is different. You might be watching and say, why the hell are these guys telling him to sell Anthony Richardson? Well, the reason we're telling him to sell Anthony Richardson is because his starting lineup is a start 12. You can see it in the top left corner of your screen. It's a start 12, and he can start 7 wide receivers. And currently, his wide receiver room is AJ Brown, DJ Moore. Greg Dortch is his wide receiver 3 in a start 7 wide receiver league. So that is why we're looking at these sort of pivot options off of big names. Jordan Love as well as a pivot name. I don't think you can really look. I guess everyone's going to be a little bit different. In my rankings, I have Jordan Love ahead of Anthony Richardson. I know not everybody has that though. So what is that plus that you can get? I mean, is it a low level starter? I'm doing it. Is it? See, these 3 names like DeAndre Hopkins is too far down. Alvin Kamara though, I would do it if it gave me Alvin Kamara. As crazy as that sounds.
The Jordan Love team.
There's really not a clear name there.
I mean, how far would you go? I don't know if I'll do a 26 first.
Oh yeah, I 100% would do that. If he wants to wait that long, 100%.
Yeah, if you want, that's what I'm saying. If he wants to wait that long, that's fine. That's why I was saying I'm not necessarily sure if he wants to do the 26, but I'll do Jordan Love in the first over Hopkins over Alvin Kamara.
Can I bring up one more idea? And I doubt this person's down to do this.
Oh boy,
Bryce Young. Okay. Can we get Bryce Young and the 102? Would you do that? I would do that. He's not giving you the 101, Team 11, but maybe the 102 is enticing to him.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm not anti-Bryce. I think that's too far down for me. But the 102.
I just don't. Isn't the 102 right around A-Rich's value anyway, though?
It is around A-Rich's value. I'm just saying, and what's funny is that Bryce Young is also in that video that I'm bringing that is a buy low. I just think it's too far tiered down.
Dang,
when
okay.
I think of Anthony Richardson, when I think of this team specifically, unless because I'm assuming we want the 102 to get Marvin Harrison Jr.
No, we have
right?
Bryce Young, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, which I think it's a great lineup. I feel like it's too low. I think I want to stay within that top 15-ish. Okay. Bryce Young is not within that top 15 at that moment.
I think this is more valuable than a lot of the deals that we've talked about, though. But
and look, that's fine. Once again, I'm not anti Bryce Young. I think he's a perfect value right now.
Yeah.
I think he is somebody that is going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would rather still tier down and maybe go back a little bit. What was it? What was that other trade that we had? Dak Prescott and the 105. I think I'll feel a little bit more comfortable knowing what I'm getting out of Dak Prescott and still that I'm going to be in that top 5 range rather than getting Bryce Young. But I think it's still a good trade.
Yeah. That definitely makes sense.
It feels a little bit more risky when it comes down to Bryce Young.
If
I'm not going to draft a quarterback.
The other thing that I would consider personally, because again, just looking at this team, I'm not sure you're I don't think you have the depth to really go out and win a championship right now. So I would be looking at shopping Rachaad White. Not every team needs to shop Rachaad White, right? But this team, I think, could afford to look at shopping a Rachaad White.
Yeah, I mean,
I would like to tier down based off of his current market value. So right now, Rachaad White is RB13. Is that on Keep Trade Cut?
I see a super. Sorry, that was a super flex.
No, that's fine. I'm just looking at Flock Fantasy. So if he's RB12 on Keep Trade Cut, he's RB13 on Flock Fantasy.
He's RB13 on Keep Trade Cut.
Okay, so he's RB13 across the board. But I'd be willing to pivot down to so many names. Many names. David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams.
Agreed.
Tony Pollard. In the deeper I go, the more I want in return. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Tajay Spears, 100%. Zamir White, if I'm getting a really good deal in return. So I think that's probably as far. Kendre Miller plus a lot. I think that's probably as far down as I want to go.
Yeah, I think that plus a lot needs to be really good. But yes,
Yeah.
I would agree. Maybe if it's in the back half of the draft, like maybe it's the 110, 111. I feel like Rachaad White alone is worth that back half of the draft. 111, 112.
I'd be even looking at like Kendre plus like what second does that owner have?
Right.
Instead of just like pick value straight up. Who has Kendre Miller? Let's try and find that together. But like these are the kind of deals you're looking at, and in each name, the further you go down, the more you probably want in return. So like, can we get Kendre in the 209? I don't know, dude. Like in a normal format, that's probably not worth it. But again, we're thinking about a start 7 wide receiver league, start 12. Maybe you could probably get more than this, though. I mean, could you
I think I would do like
Jameson in that.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe Jameson. I feel like there's not that many good names there in that list. I'm trying to find that Zamir White owner.
And I don't even think Zamir White is safe, but he's as safe within his organization as White is. As crazy as that is to say. How about the guy who has Tony Pollard? Would you grab Tony Pollard and Mike Evans? I would.
I think I still want to go. I think in this format, knowing that I'm not going to be competing, I want to go young.
Okay.
I was what's funny was that I was going to say young with Calvin Ridley. So like, can I do Roshan and like Calvin, or Tajay Spears and Calvin?
Spears and Calvin. Yeah.
Maybe that's too much. Or Zamir White and I would do like Zamir White and Rashee Rice.
Oh yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat if that's possible. Zamir.
Because Zamir, Zamir is not going to be safe. Like I feel like the chances of him not being safe feels like more than 70% that they're going to.
Is it crazy that I feel like Zamir is safer than Rashad as far as like who's gonna get the more impact running back in the draft to compete with?
Because Alexander Madison got signed.
They signed Madison, yeah.
But Madison could be a cut casualty though.
He could, or it could be like they want to go super cheap and build other areas. Whereas with Rachaad White, it's like clearly the RB2 is not on the roster. Do you know what I mean? Like Sean Tucker, yeah. Rest in peace his soul. Chase Edmonds, was he there? The RB2 was like Keyshawn Vaughn at one point.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are all so many I feel like we broke down so many deals and we didn't even talk about the picks yet. We talked about tearing down from A.J. Brown, tearing down from Kittle, Anthony Richardson, Rachaad White, but we haven't even talked about your picks.
I think in this scenario, I don't think you move your picks. I think you keep him, and you get best player available at the 106, at the 107.
Yeah, you don't want to go outside that range. That's why. Like typically, it'd be like let's tear down, but like here, it's like you don't want to get outside this range really if you can help it. So
no. And that's perfect opportunity there. That's a Rome Odunze. That's a Brock Bowers, Brian Thomas Jr. That could be a Lam McConkey. That can actually be another quarterback.
That's what I was going to say. The 106, the 107 is 2 names, barring one situation. Odunze Bowers, regardless. In a full point premium, 2 point per reception, Odunze Bowers. Now, there's a scenario where Bowers goes earlier. You grab one of the quarterbacks. Does May or Daniels fall to you? Easy money. We're improving our team big time. And by the way, if we grab a Daniels and he ends up being a superstar, we can look at pivoting off of him or pivoting off one of the other names that you got. So
that's when I would be okay doing that Anthony Richardson trade. But that's also not. That probably won't happen until before the draft. And then, anyways, continue.
No, I agree. Best player available at the 206. Who is that? We don't know at this point. We couldn't tell you. But I would 100% say go wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, we can throw out names to fill out. Maybe that's Malachi Corley, a Jalen McMillan, a Keon Coleman, a Tez Walker.
Ricky Pearsall, Roman Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, all those wide receivers can definitely be in play there for you at the 207 or 206.
But I feel like we covered everything.
Yeah.
I don't know what else we could cover, but what I would say is our entire goal is trying to pivot down from almost every name on your roster. Burrow or A-Rich. Last thing I want to say is all the deals we talked about for A-Rich, I would do for Burrow too.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that as well.
Most of them. Let's say that. Most of them I would do for Burrow too. You can feel free to DM us in the Discord if you have questions around that. Tear down from Burrow or Rich. Tear down from White if it's possible. Same for Pacheco. You'd agree? All the deals we set for White, same for Pacheco?
Yeah, same for Pacheco. 100%.
Same.
Where's
On
Pacheco ranked right now? I think he's around the same page.
Very close, yeah.
Back. Yeah, okay. I'm okay with that.
Tear down from A.J. Brown if it's possible. Tear down from Kittle if it's possible. At the 106 to 107, go best player available. At the 206, same deal. In an ideal world, let's say we walk through an ideal world and everything works out, okay? So we probably traded away Anthony Richardson. What is your favorite trade here that we talked about?
Man.
I'd say probably Goff in the 103.
Yeah, I was going to say the trade that he was actually originally offered might be one of the best trades because you're still in that upper tier. And then you still get that one of those Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison. You're in the upper tier of the quarterbacks, in my opinion, whether that's Jared Goff or Tua. And then you get Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr. at the 101 to 103 or 103.
I agree. So let's play this out then. If we do go ideal world, your quarterbacks are Joe Burrow, Jared Goff. And we've also got instead of Rashad White, we've got Tajay. We've got Zamir and Rashee Rice, for example.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just play out the best world possible here, just so you can see the vision. I want you to see the vision of all this chaos that's happening. AJ Brown. Let's talk about best case scenario tear down from him. To me, that would probably be the Addison and Flowers.
Sure.
The Ayuk and Collins actually is probably.
I don't mind Tank and Richie Rich either.
But we already got Rice from the other deal.
True. Say that.
So let's play out the absolute best case scenario. Your quarterbacks. You have got Joe Burrow, Jared Goff. Okay. At running back, you've got Zamir White, Isaiah Pacheco, Jalen Warren. Not the strongest room, but we don't need that room to be strong at this point of the season anyway. Okay.
Agreed.
Here's where things get better. At wide receiver, you now have Brandon Ayuk, Nico Collins. At the 103, you took Malik Neighbors. You've also got DJ Moore. That's your fourth. You've got Roma Dunze at the 106 or the 107.
Yep.
All of a sudden, you have 5 names that you really like. And by the way, you have Rashee Rice. You got 6 names that you really like. Okay. And who knows what happens at the 107. But at the 206, we also added Roman Wilson. All of a sudden, our wide receiver room is stacked because we made some pivot downs, and we feel really good about that room. And at tight end, you got Njoku, Kittle, and probably Brock Bowers. Who knows what moves you make from there. So you see the picture we're painting with you.
Here we go. We're there. Call me Pablo Picasso. Or call us Pablo Picasso.
You'll love to see it. But that's the kind of moves we'd be looking to make, right?
Yeah. Use your fantasy hotline, Krush. Whenever you watch this back, send us a message, and let us know the trades that you get through, because this easily could, everything that we've sent you, come watch back, and then should be good. Should be good, man. We appreciate you and the support.
We appreciate you big time. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the love. Feel free to bookmark these live streams. They'll never go offline. You'll always have access to them in case you want to go back and relook at some of the ideas that we discussed.
That's right.
So we appreciate y'all. Again, if you guys want your team reviewed by us, it's very simple. All you need to be doing is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. That is the only steps. Become a Mother Flocker member. Make sure you use a promo code LAND. All right. I would suggest clicking instant access so you skip that trial. So you're instantly eligible for a team review. But once you have signed up, go to your account in the top right, link your Discord, and then you should instantly be able to access all of the premium Discord channels that we offer, including the roster submissions tab, where you can submit your team for review. do us a favor. Go ahead and hit that like button on the stream. We're at 30 likes, which is awesome. Chris says, I already used code FLOCK. Can I have both? Love listening to you guys. Yeah, the only way to do that right now is to create multiple accounts to sign up to support multiple people. But we're working on a way around that. It's just not possible at this very moment. But
yeah, we appreciate you though, Chris. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah. Thank you for watching the show and showing some love. But that's it, guys. That's it.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
All love.
Enjoy the rest of your night. And yeah, see you soon.
Love.